Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Gnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattvabodho Vidhiyate. Om. Namaste to all of you. After a long time, I'm back for the class. And let's start. Last time, those who joined, just for their information, last time we talked about what is I and what
Swamiji?
is non-I. We saw along that. Last time, we saw the discussion regarding I and non-I. There is a long definition where it said about it is different from three bodies, distinct from three bodies, witness of the three avastha, the states, waking, dream and sleep, and it is beyond or different from panchakoshas. Now the same analysis while we were continuing, and we were trying to understand where exactly do we draw a line between I and non-I. Where does the I stop and where from non-I begin? Generally, the feeling or the idea is that I stops at the dermis. Anything beyond body is non-I to me. Can you hear me properly? Okay. Anything which is beyond body is non-I. Few things or many things become known to me when I use my means of knowledge. Eyes, ears, nose, skin, tongue, etc., hands, legs. Through them, I know the world. So, technically called as Pramana Vyapara. Employing the means of knowledge, I come to know the world. When I say employing the means of knowledge, that means I, the knower, is there. The means of knowledge I have, the knower, who is called as Pramata in Sanskrit, wields, holds the means of knowledge called Pramana and recognizes the object Prameya, the object of knowledge. So I, Pramata, means Pramana and object of knowledge Prameya. So this Pramata, Pramana, Prameya, Vyavara, the interaction or the transaction of this knower, means of knowledge and object of knowledge gives rise to a given knowledge. And when I do this Pramana Vyapara, I say a particular object exists. Object may be existing, but if I don't know, it may be known to others. It may be existent for others. But for me, as long as I don't know, directly or indirectly, it is as good as non-existence. So, the existence of a vastu in my knowledge, into me, is established by this Pramana Vyapara. Now, Because of this, I know that I sense cannot be placed in anything that is known. But like, for example, I know the pen, I know the mobile, I know the car, I know a house, etc. They are known. So, I sense is never ever placed in what is known. Now, let us look at the bodies. I see people. I know that because there are so many bodies, some male, some female, some Indian, some non-Indian, some Hindu, some non-Hindu, etc., etc. I see them through my sense organ. Now, this body has a special relationship with me when I say my body, my particular body. It is like there are so many women in the world, but when I say this is my mother, this is my wife, this is my daughter, this is my son, this is my brother, they have some special feature, special relationship. So also body, which is mine, I refer them as this body. I say my body. That is what we say. And as I said last time, each organ of the body from childhood we address it as mine. To call an object as mine implies two things: that it is known, that it is other than me, and it is not like any other object, but this is my object. Like there are so many cars, but when I say this is my car, that my car has a special relationship. Now, this I call this as my body, and in childhood, I got, are you getting me now? The body in childhood, we referred each limb as mine. When a typical baby in India, I see that is asked, the mom keeps the head here, and the child says, "This is my head." Then baby says, these are my ears, this is my nose, these are my lips, these are my cheeks, etc. These are my hands, this is my tummy. That becomes a joke type of thing. And then my legs. Everything is referred as mine. But when put together, it is referred as I. Even having grown up, when you go to a doctor, you say that when you give a complaint, you say my back is paining, my hands I have paining, I think I have tennis elbow problem, I have my eyes are not seeing the things properly, my ears don't listen properly. Thus, this very expression reveals that body is referred to as mine. That anything that is mine cannot be individually or together I. Like at home, I refer many things as mine. I refer car as mine, mobile as mine, house as mine. Although neither of them is I. I am not car, nor mobile, nor house, much less all this put together is me. But this is what happens here in the body. Body, each limb is referred as mine, but the whole body is somehow is taken as somehow. This is Maya. I think the I sense stops at dermis. I sense do not go beyond the tip of the nose. I sense do not go beyond the top of my head. And then I think we draw the line beyond body is non-I, body and everything else in the body side is I. This is what this body lives alone, and the body per se is also known. I say I am tall or short, I am black or white, I am fat or thin, whatever. This knowledge reveals, this statement reveals that the body is known. It being a known cannot be the knower. It means I. So I am not the body. So also I am not the prana, because I know the condition of my physical condition within, that I am thirsty, I am hungry, etc. Not only that, I know my sense organs. I see my eyes, in meaning thereby I know whether my eyes see the things clearly or not. I know whether my ears hear properly or not. I don't see. One says I am blind, etc. Therefore, that also can be I. The line of demarcation between I and non-I, it was up to dermis. We have to shrink it. We have to reduce that, bring it back. So now the body is non-I, prana is non-I, sense organ is non-I. These, all the sense organs are used as instrument by me. In seeing the form and the color, I use the eyes, both the eyes. For hearing the sound, I use the ears. Similarly, I use my mind to express, to experience, to feel the emotions. So the mind is also is an instrument. Though it keeps changing constantly, the change is called vritti, and the vritti is in keeping with the means of knowledge that are operated upon. But all these modifications of the mind, all these changes of the mind are seen, are known by not only the emotions, but then all the knowledge. I gather varieties of knowledge from knowledge of the city or the town in which I live onwards, knowledge about the body, inside the body onwards, up to the sun. So I am very much conscious about what I know. I am aware about my emotions also. My love, my anger, etc. are known to me. Memories are also an object of known to me. I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. I remember what I remember, and I know what I don't remember. Thus, I am conscious of the activities of my memory, of my mind, of my emotions, etc. Thus, the boundary line between I and non-I further shrinks. What does that? Therefore, let us now look at this from this analysis. What are the things that are excluded from I? Or, in other words, what are the things which were, without thinking, included in sense I sense? Both are true. Which few things I included in the I sense because I never gave a thought to I sense. And in view of the analysis, what are the things we need to exclude? That is, first of all, physical body needs to be excluded. My prana needs to be excluded. Sense organ are to be excluded. Mind is to be excluded, and intellect also is to be excluded. You have to exclude even the time and space, because both are known to me, and this process of exclusion in the Shastric jargon language is called as neti neti. Though they translate in English as a process of negation, but we are not actually negating any vastu. Okay? The Vedanta or teachings doesn't negate anything. It only is negating erroneous thinking. That thinking is, we don't call it negative thinking. And this thinking, we don't call it a positive thinking. That thinking to consider body, prana, senses, mind, intellect as I is an erroneous thing. And to consider, to appreciate the fact so that I exclude all of them from the I sense, that is a proper thing. So Vedanta excludes improper thinking and leads us to proper thinking. And this prakriya or this methodology is called neti. Okay? Though in English the word is used as a process of negation, but it is not negation of anything. It is negation of improper thinking only. Nothing is negated. Nothing is positive or negative. Improper thinking is negated. Thinking is negated. And proper thinking, they are calling it positive thinking. But that's not proper word. Okay, now let's come back to this. What we refer as this object can be said to be the object of consciousness. Yes, just as when I say this is my pen, that means what? There is a pen consciousness. There is a computer consciousness. There is a mobile consciousness. Now you are listening to my words. There is a sound consciousness. When you are touching your pen and writing on the book, there is a touch consciousness. Similarly, I know an object, or when I refer a particular object as this is a pen. That means, but this object of the statement this can be said to be object of consciousness. Okay? Any known object can be referred as object of consciousness. So when I say this is pen, that means there is pen consciousness. When I say this is computer, then there is computer consciousness. When I say this is mobile, then there is a mobile consciousness. Now when you are hearing me, so from the standpoint of view of consciousness, you can say there is a sound consciousness, there is a touch consciousness, there is a color consciousness, form and color consciousness, there is a taste consciousness, there is a smell consciousness. In all of them, I, the experiencer, the consciousness is invariable. We can extend this further to pen consciousness, and computer consciousness can be extended further. I have body consciousness, I have mind consciousness, and there is hunger consciousness, emotion consciousness, etc. In all of them, consciousness is present. Consciousness is referred in Sanskrit as Sambit or Chiti. That Sambit is present in all of them, including in ignorance consciousness and knowledge consciousness. Now, this consciousness cannot be displaced. Now look at this. When I say I know the pen, correct? And then I say I know mobile. So there is a pen knowledge or pen consciousness, and thereafter there is a mobile knowledge or mobile consciousness. And then I can say, I see the table I'm sitting on, sitting nearby. So there is a table consciousness. Look at this example. In these three perceptions, there is a pen consciousness, then there is mobile consciousness, then there is a table consciousness. In this, pen is displaced when I say there is a mobile consciousness. The mobile is displaced when I say there is a table consciousness. And when I say my chair consciousness, in that chair consciousness, table, mobile, pen, etc. are displaced. But the consciousness is never displaced. It is in and through pen consciousness, table consciousness, phone consciousness, or you can say computer consciousness. So, nothing can displace the consciousness. Everything else tends to be displaced in that consciousness, which is not displaceable, which is, you can say, avibhajya or avinashi. In that consciousness is I. Because in all of them, as I said, the sambit is there. I know emotions. I know the knowledge. I know the ignorance. I know the pen, table, car, chair, house, etc. So, in all the names and forms, consciousness is same. Now, this consciousness is not an object of knowledge. This is me. Consciousness is I. Everything else is object of consciousness. But this consciousness is self-revealing. That is, I am is self-known. It doesn't require agency of any means of knowledge. I told you sometimes before that to know object is to use the means of knowledge by which you know that the object is. Otherwise, when pramana vyapara is not taken place, for you, the object doesn't exist. Now, similarly, to know the existence of consciousness, do we need to do any pramana vyapara? The answer is simply not. Because consciousness is self-revealing. The I am is self-revealing, and everything else is something to be revealed by some other means of knowledge. In the light of self-revealing consciousness, I know everything else. Therefore, there is a shloka, mantra, tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. that consciousness is self-revealing and everything else is revealed or shines behind the very consciousness. Okay? In other words, they cannot shine, they cannot reveal anything unless they are bathed in or unless they are revealed by the consciousness itself. Tameva bhantam anubhatu sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. So, it is self-revealing. Pujya Swamiji in those days used to give this example. Suppose you have a hot tea in your cup. So you say that tea is very hot. Then how did it become hot? Because the water in which you are soaking the tea bag, sinking the tea bag, is hot. How come the water is hot? Water is hot because the still vessel in which it was kept is hot. How come the still vessel is hot? Because there is a fire below which is hot. Then how come the fire is hot? The answer is fire is hot because it is fire. It is by nature. So there can be pen consciousness. To reveal a pen, you need a pen consciousness. To reveal mobile, you need mobile consciousness. But to know the existence of the consciousness, you don't need any consciousness extra. It is self-revealing, self-evident consciousness, and that is I. Okay? This self-revealing or self-evident consciousness is Atma, and that is not something to be experienced but recognized. It is the recognition that is the recognition that is I reveals to me that all objects are revealed by me and I am not the body-mind complex. This and I, that self-revealing consciousness, is the essence of every experience. In fact, by which all experiences are revealed, and when that is present, what is all the time is consciousness. Okay? Now, look, that is what is I. I am self-revealing consciousness, self-existent consciousness. So when we draw the boundary between I and non-I, as we say, encroachment. In India, people are known to encroach the government land. Sometimes, some of the cities. Now, no more. Government has become strict. But still, everywhere there are land mafias who will take away some government land. Yesterday, the other day, I read the news in China and some other country that they have to break some buildings, 20-story, 40-story building, 3 buildings ready, and they have to break it out because it was illegal possession. Similarly, to consider body, mind, prana, senses as I is an illegal I sense, illegitimate I sense. Now, what is that I? As we saw, it is consciousness. Now, let us look at the same consciousness from another perspective, from another dimension. What exactly do we want? Let us analyze. What is the fundamental want of every human being? Okay? What are my fundamental struggle? What are the fundamental struggles or sought after goals of every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, nationality, etc.? There is something fundamentally which we are seeking, and that fundamental seeking is the fundamental problem, and solution is given in Vedanta. Therefore, it is a fundamental solution. And as the problem has no boundaries of religion or caste or creed or nationality, it can travel anywhere. Let us see what are the fundamental urge of human being. First and the foremost urge of every living creature is nobody wants to die. No one is willing to die. And therefore, the death comes, there is always an excuse available. Okay, let us just wait for a week. Let us wait for 10 days. Let us wait for 15 days. Nobody is willing to give appointment to Yamaraja. That is why Yamaraja comes without appointment. You may have all commandos, like black commandos and Tibetan commandos and all American president commandos. But when Lord Yama has to enter, no commando can stop him, and nowhere he has to seek an appointment. Because if he seeks appointment, nobody will give also. As Pujya Swamiji used to say, Aaje rokda, kal udhar. So on the shop there is a board, today cash, credits tomorrow. So this fellow came today and saw that there is today cash. He didn't have cash. He said, okay, tomorrow I will come and you take the goods on credit. Next day he came and the same board was there, today cash, credit tomorrow. Every day it is today and every day it is cash. So Yamaraja comes, you say, not today, but tomorrow. Nobody will welcome him. And that tomorrow can be literally tomorrow. Tomorrow can be next month, next year, or next decade also. I want to see my great-grandchild married and they will be getting children, etc., etc. All kinds of desires. So basically there is called jijivisha, desire to live. This is the fundamental struggle. No, I want to live. I don't want to die. One. How much to live? Endless. Limitless time I want to live. And you know this for sure. Human heart knows that one day I will not be there. Therefore, people want to remain in the pages of history. Let the history of the country hereafter recognize me that I, such and such a person, was there. So I want to live in the memory of others, but I want to continue my existence. Therefore, people give names to such building, give names to product, give names to some roads. This is in the memory of so and so. Just to continue my existence through memory. I want limitless existence. That is the first thing, which is common to all living creatures also. They also want to run away for life in case they have a danger. So that is natural. Second thing is unique to human being, that human being cannot stand ignorance. I can't stand that I am ignorant about something. Whatever it is surrounding to me, I must know. And even if not surrounding, I should know. People are very much interested in politics. I am not denying it's a wrong interest. But then their interest is only limited to here. I should know everything. But nobody wants to go to capital and know the everything, Similarly, here, I want to know anything pertaining to me. So, if two persons are talking at a distance, and both of them, one by one, keeps looking at me and talking, there is a jignasa. What are they talking about me? I need to know. Any accidents, people slow down and want to see what happened. I need to know. There is the urge for knowledge is natural. Now the question comes, how much the knowledge one wants to know? Obviously, everything I want to know. That means limitless existence I want, limitless knowledge also I want. Third urge, basic urge of a human being is, he or she wants to get rid of dukkham. He or she wants to be free from any kind of agony or the pain, for whatever reason that one gets. That means I want to be happy. So, three things. I want to give up mortality and be immortal. I want to give up ignorance and want to be all-knowing. And I want to give up all pleasures. I mean, I want to give up any kind of dukkham, and I want every pleasure available in this earth or hereafter. There is a basic urge of a human being. Okay? All these conclusions that I am going to die, that I am ignorant, that I am dukhi, please understand, all these conclusions are centered on I, myself. This body doesn't say I am body. Body doesn't say I want to be immortal. Mind doesn't say I should not have that kind of feeling, etc. It is I who feels I am dukhi, I am limited, I am this, etc. Feeling is to me. Okay? Now, look at this. If I was fundamentally limited in time, fundamentally limited in terms of knowledge, and of course, very much limited in terms of happiness, that means these things are natural to me. If it is natural, then I should not have any problem in it. Okay? If it is natural, there is no solution. And if it is natural, I need to live happily with it. Like even the fundamental problem of human being is this threefold. If that was the case, that I was by birth mortal, I was limited in terms of knowledge, and I was destiny by nature, I am limited in terms of my knowledge. That means the conclusions are centered on I. Okay? Most of the theologians think that this is the real nature of yourself. According to them, all the limitations are real. According to them, you are really unhappy. It is your nature. You know, these are the limitations of the self. That is what they think. And these theologians, first of all, they made a confusion of discerning the problem. They said, this is really to me. Now, if it is really to me, that means these attributes are intrinsic to me. These attributes are natural to me, and we can only hope, if they are natural, some palliative, some palliative solutions, because there is no cure for reality. Reality cannot be any change. If attributes are intrinsic, I just cannot change. As I said, theologians accept this, make one mistake, accept Atma to be T, and then make another mistake. What? They promise some place hereafter by which I can become free from limitations. Okay? And further they complicate it. You can go to heaven only because of intervention of Ishvara, intervention of the Lord in the heaven. Okay? Now, if there was a case, I was really limited, and that being a case, I thought myself to be in Ashtanga, 8 areas, so that I can work on this. But when these limitations are real, there cannot be any cure. Reality can never be cured. So, that theologians, as I said, give another example, that if you become one, you will be going to heaven with the Jesus will inviting you. Okay? That's not true. even when I go to heaven or some what I feel for myself here, same thing I'll continue feeling there. I cannot buy these theologians' ideas that yes, it will be a great idea that Lord will shower grace on me. No. So, limitations are incidental. That incidental means, since I happen to wield the body, I have these limitations of being body, etc. Since I wield this particular clothes, one may have limitations of behaving like a sannyasi or whatever the role demands. So, this is just for they say these conclusions are intrinsic and limitations are entrenched in you. Okay, and therefore seek refuge in Bhagavan, our Bhagavan. He will save you. He will liberate you from these so-called limitations. This is how theologians say. Vedanta or Sanatana Dharma is just the opposite vision. It doesn't give solution on the basis of the acceptance of reality of limitations. It says that limitations are not real, they are not intrinsic, they are incidental limitations. Okay? They are incidental. And it questions the very vision that I have about myself. It questions that how come these limitations be or so. That we will see. Conclusions are centered on I. The detailed discussion next week on 27th of February. I mean, not 27th, 28th, 19th of February. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnadachyate Purnasya Purnaya Purnasya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha Hari Om